My name is Sarah, and I've always been the reliable one in my family, the one who shows up early to help set up, who remembers everyone's birthdays, who volunteers to bring the side dishes nobody else wants to make. So when my sister Emily announced she was pregnant with her first baby, I was genuinely thrilled. I immediately started brainstorming nursery ideas, pinning inspiration boards, and imagining all the ways I could help her prepare for this new chapter. I'm an interior designer, and though I specialize in residential spaces, nurseries have always held a special place in my heart. Maybe it's because I designed my own daughter Mia's room 5 years ago when I was navigating single motherhood, learning to create beauty and comfort on a tight budget. I'd built my small design business from the ground up, working late nights after Mia went to bed, slowly building a portfolio that I was proud of. When I called Emily to offer my services for her nursery, she seemed excited. We talked for over an hour about themes and color palettes. She loved the idea of a modern woodland theme with soft greens and warm neutrals. I promised to put together a mood board for her by the end of the week. 3 days later, my mom called. I was in the middle of a client meeting, but I saw her name flash across my screen twice, so I excused myself. "Sarah, honey, we need to talk about something." Her tone was careful, the way you'd speak to someone you're about to disappoint. "What's wrong? Is Emily okay? Is the baby okay?" "Everyone's fine. It's about the baby shower." I felt myself relax. "Oh, good. I've been thinking about that, actually. I have some ideas for decorations that would be..." "That's the thing, sweetie. Emily and I have been talking, and we think it might be best if you sit this one out." I stood there in the hallway outside the conference room, my hand pressed against the cool wall. "Sit what out?" "The baby shower. We're planning it for the last weekend of March at the country club. Emily's college friends are throwing it, and it's going to be quite formal. Very elegant." "Okay. But I don't understand. Why wouldn't I be there?" My mom sighed, and I could picture her pinching the bridge of her nose the way she did when she was uncomfortable. "Emily's worried that having you there might create some tension. You know how you can be sometimes, Sarah. And with everything you've been through with the divorce and raising Mia alone, Emily's concerned that it might bring up difficult feelings. She doesn't want her day to become about your situation." I felt like I'd been slapped. "My situation? Mom, I'm happy for Emily. I've been nothing but supportive." "I know you have been, honey. But Emily needs to feel calm and stress-free right now. The shower is going to be full of her friends from the junior league and her husband's family. They're a very traditional crowd. Emily just thinks it might be easier if you weren't there to potentially remind everyone about, well, less conventional family structures." There it was. The real reason wrapped up in careful language. I was a single mom, and that made me an uncomfortable reminder that life doesn't always follow the perfect script. My presence might make Emily's polished friends ask questions or make assumptions. So I'm not invited to my own sister's baby shower because I'm divorced and raising my daughter alone? That's not fair, Sarah. You're twisting this into something it's not. We just want Emily to enjoy her special day without any complications. Right. Of course. My voice sounded hollow even to my own ears. I wouldn't want to complicate anything. You understand, don't you? I knew you would. This is why you're such a good sister. You always put family first. After we hung up, I stood in that hallway for a full 5 minutes. I wanted to cry. I wanted to call Emily and demand to know when I became something she needed to hide from her fancy friends. I wanted to call my mom back and ask why she was okay with this, why she wasn't standing up for me. Instead, I took 3 deep breaths, fixed my lipstick, and went back into my meeting with a smile. That night, after Mia was asleep, I let myself feel it. The hurt settled into my chest like a weight. I'd been excluded before from girls' nights that conflicted with my custody schedule, from spontaneous weekend trips I couldn't afford. But this was different. This was my sister's baby shower. This was supposed to be a family celebration. I called my best friend Rachel at 11 that night. She answered on the second ring, immediately alert. What happened? I told her everything. She was quiet for a long moment after I finished. "Sarah, that's cruel. You know that, right? That's genuinely cruel. They think I might make people uncomfortable. No. Emily thinks she might look bad if people see that her sister's life doesn't match the perfect Instagram aesthetic she's cultivated. This isn't about you. This is about her insecurity. Maybe. I don't know. I just feel so hurt. You should. But you know what? You don't need their validation. You've built an incredible life for yourself and Mia. Emily's the one missing out. Rachel was right, but it didn't make the rejection sting any less. I threw myself into work. 2 weeks after that phone call, I got a message through my business website. A potential client named Victoria Chen wanted to schedule a consultation for a full nursery design. The budget she mentioned made my eyes widen. This was easily 3 times what I usually charged. The consultation was at her penthouse downtown. When she opened the door, I immediately recognized her. Victoria Chen was the CEO of a major tech startup that had just gone public. I'd seen her featured in Forbes, Business Insider, and the local business journal. "Sarah, thank you so much for coming. I've been following your work on Instagram for months. Your designs have this warmth to them, this sense of home that you don't see in a lot of high-end design work." We spent 2 hours talking. Victoria was 8 months pregnant with her first child, and she wanted a nursery that felt personal and meaningful, not like a spread from a design magazine. Her husband traveled frequently for work, and she was determined to create a space that would be a sanctuary for both her and the baby. "I want something real," she said, running her hand over her belly. "I grew up in a house that looked perfect, but felt cold. I want my daughter to grow up surrounded by love and warmth. Does that make sense?" "Completely," I said, thinking of the nursery I'd created for Mia with secondhand furniture I'd refinished and fabric remnants I'd turned into curtains. Some of the most beautiful spaces are the ones created with heart rather than just budget. Victoria smiled. "That's exactly why I wanted to work with you. I read your blog post about designing on a budget, about how you created your daughter's room. It was honest and vulnerable and beautiful. I want that energy in my daughter's space." We discussed her vision, a modern celestial theme, with deep blues, soft golds, and touches of blush pink. She wanted the room to feel like a peaceful night sky, somewhere her daughter could dream. As I was packing up my samples, Victoria said, "I have one more request. I'm planning my baby shower for mid-April. I know this is outside your usual scope, but I'd love to hire you to help design the space and coordinate the aesthetic. Nothing too elaborate, just something intimate and meaningful at my favorite restaurant. Would you be interested?" April, the same month as Emily's shower. For just a second, I thought about saying no, about keeping that date free, in case my sister had a change of heart. Then I thought about how it felt to be told I was too much of an embarrassment to attend my own sister's celebration. "I'd be honored," I said. Over the next 6 weeks, I poured my heart into both projects. The nursery came together like a dream. We found a vintage crib that we had refinished in a soft champagne gold. I commissioned a local artist to paint a custom mural of constellations on one wall, incorporating Victoria's favorite stars and her daughter's zodiac sign. We layered in plush textures, warm lighting, and personal touches that made the space feel like a loving embrace. The baby shower design was equally meaningful. Victoria wanted something intimate, just 30 close friends and family members at a private dining room in her favorite farm-to-table restaurant. We created centerpieces using books that had meant something to Victoria throughout her life, topped with simple arrangements of seasonal flowers. Each place setting had a handwritten note from Victoria about what that guest meant to her. "I don't want anyone to feel like they're just filling a seat," she explained. "I want them to know they're chosen, that they matter to me." I thought about Emily's shower at the country club, about being excluded because I didn't fit the image she wanted to project. The week before Victoria's shower, I posted a sneak peek of the nursery on my Instagram. Just one photo of the constellation mural, with the caption, "Creating spaces where love lives, more to come soon." The response was immediate. Comments poured in. People wanted to know when they could see the full reveal, asking about my services, sharing the post with their pregnant friends. Then my phone rang. It was my mom. "Sarah, I saw your Instagram post." "What is that?" "A nursery I designed for a client. It's beautiful. I didn't know you were working on something like this." There was a pause. "When is this? Isn't Emily's shower coming up?" "It's the same weekend, actually." "The same weekend? Sarah, you're not seriously planning to miss your sister's shower?" I felt a familiar twist in my stomach, that old instinct to apologize and accommodate. But Rachel's words echoed in my head. "You don't need their validation." "Mom, I wasn't invited to Emily's shower. Remember? You called and told me it would be better if I sat it out." "Well, yes, but we assumed you'd still. I mean, it's your sister. And I'm her sister too. But that didn't seem to matter when she decided I wasn't appropriate for her fancy friends. That's not fair. You're twisting this into, I have to go, Mom. I have a client meeting." Victoria's baby shower was on a Saturday afternoon in mid-April. The day was perfect warm spring sunshine, cherry blossoms blooming throughout the city. I arrived at the restaurant 2 hours early to oversee the setup. Everything came together beautifully. The tables looked intimate and warm, the flowers were perfect, and the handwritten notes added a personal touch that made the whole space feel like a gathering of people who genuinely loved each other. Victoria arrived early, her husband helping her navigate the steps in her elegant floral maternity dress. "Sarah, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted." She had tears in her eyes. "Thank you for understanding what I needed even when I couldn't fully articulate it." I stayed for the shower at Victoria's insistence. Watching her celebrate with people who truly cared about her, seeing the joy in that room, I felt something shift inside me. This was what a celebration should feel like. Not performative or exclusive, but genuine and full of love. I took photos throughout the event, candid shots of Victoria laughing with her grandmother, of her friends sharing advice and stories, of the beautiful details we'd created together. The lighting was perfect, the moments were real, and the images captured something beautiful. That night, Victoria texted me, "Would you mind if I shared some of those photos you took? They're so beautiful, and I want to remember today forever." "Of course," I replied. Sunday morning, I posted a carousel of images from the shower and the nursery reveal. I wrote a long caption about creating meaningful spaces, about the importance of celebrating life's moments with people who truly value you, about designing with heart rather than just aesthetics. Within an hour, the post had hundreds of likes. By that afternoon, it had thousands. Design bloggers started sharing it. Parenting websites reached out for features. Victoria shared it to her considerable following. She had over 200,000 followers from her work in tech, and added her own caption about finding designers who understand that true luxury is creating spaces filled with love. By Monday morning, my inbox was flooded with inquiries. My website kept crashing from traffic. Design magazines wanted to feature the nursery. Expectant mothers from across the country were asking if I did virtual consultations. And then my phone started ringing. Family members I hadn't heard from in months were suddenly calling. First my aunt, then my cousin, then my mom, and finally, Emily. I let the first few calls go to voicemail. I was in the middle of responding to client inquiries and trying to keep up with the overwhelming response. But when Emily called for the third time, I answered. "Sarah, oh my God, I've been trying to reach you all day. I've been busy." "What's up, Emily? What's up? Have you seen what's happening online? Your shower post is everywhere. CNN's website just ran a piece about it. People are calling it the most heartfelt baby shower they've ever seen." I saw. "It's been a bit overwhelming, honestly." There was a pause. When Emily spoke again, her voice was different, smaller. "Sarah, I need to ask you something. Did you do this because of my shower? Because I didn't invite you?" I took a breath. This was the moment I'd been dreading and craving in equal measure. "Emily, I did this because a client hired me to create something meaningful for her. The fact that it happened to be the same weekend as your shower? That's just timing. But you had to have known this would happen. You had to know posting about it would make me look bad. And there it was. Not an apology, not acknowledgement of how she'd hurt me, just concern about how she looked. Emily, this isn't about you. This is about my work. This is about a beautiful celebration I was honored to be part of. If that makes you uncomfortable, maybe you should ask yourself why. That's not fair. You're my sister. You should have been thinking about how this would affect me. Like you thought about how it would affect me to be excluded from your shower? Like you thought about what it would feel like to be told I'm too embarrassing to be around your friends?" Silence. "I never said you were embarrassing. You didn't have to say it, Emily. You showed me when you decided I wasn't good enough to celebrate with you. You showed me when you chose your image over your sister. Mom said you'd understand. She said you'd be supportive. I am supportive. I'm happy you're going to be a mom. But being supportive doesn't mean accepting being treated like I'm something to hide. I've built a good life for myself and Mia. I'm proud of my work. I'm proud of who I am. And I'm done apologizing for not fitting into some perfect picture." My phone buzzed with another call. It was a producer from a morning show wanting to interview me about the viral post. "I have to go, Emily. Congratulations on the baby. I really do mean that." Over the next few days, the attention intensified. The morning show interview led to features in design publications. I was invited to speak at a conference about authentic design. Brands started reaching out about partnerships. My client waitlist grew to 6 months out. My mom called again on Wednesday. I was at a coffee shop working on proposals, and I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Sarah, I owe you an apology. I wasn't expecting that." I set down my coffee and moved to a quieter corner. "I saw the interview you did this morning. when you talked about creating spaces where everyone feels valued, where people don't have to hide parts of themselves to be welcome. I realized that's what we made you feel like you had to do. We made you feel like you had to hide. My throat tightened. Yeah, you did. I told myself we were protecting Emily, that we were just trying to make her comfortable, but we were really just going along with her insecurity. And we hurt you in the process. I'm sorry, honey. I'm really, truly sorry. Why are you apologizing now, Mom? Is it because you actually understand what you did wrong, or is it because I'm suddenly getting all this attention? She was quiet for a long moment. That's fair. And honestly, maybe it's a bit of both. Seeing everyone celebrate your work. Seeing strangers appreciate what you created when your own family couldn't even invite you to a shower. It made me ashamed. It made me realize we took you for granted. I felt tears building but held them back. I needed you to stand up for me, Mom. I needed you to tell Emily that excluding me was wrong. I know, I failed you. I chose the easier path instead of the right one, and I'm sorry. We talked for another hour. Real talk, not the surface-level conversations we'd been having for months. She told me about her own insecurities, about feeling caught between her daughters, about being afraid of conflict. I told her about the loneliness I'd felt, about wondering if my family only wanted me around when I was convenient. Emily took longer. She didn't call until the following week, after the media attention had mostly died down. Sarah, can we talk? In person? We met at a park near my house. Mia was at school, so we had time and space to really talk. Emily looked tired, her belly prominent under her cardigan. I've been doing a lot of thinking, she started. And a lot of therapy, actually. My therapist helped me realize that I was projecting my own fears onto you. I was terrified of being judged, of people thinking my life wasn't perfect. And somehow I convinced myself that if you weren't there, no one would have any reason to judge me or my choices. Emily, let me finish, please. She took a shaky breath. I was wrong. So completely wrong. You didn't deserve to be excluded. You didn't deserve to be made to feel like your life was somehow less valuable than mine just because it looked different. And I'm sorry. I'm truly, deeply sorry. I'd imagined this conversation 100 times. In some versions, I was cold and distant. In others, I forgave immediately. The reality was somewhere in between. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. I saw the nursery you designed. The whole thing, not just what you posted. Victoria sent me the full photos because apparently we have a mutual friend, and she wanted to make sure I knew how talented my sister is. I smiled despite myself. That sounded like Victoria. It's beautiful, Sarah. It's more beautiful than anything I'd imagined for my own nursery. And the shower looked like the kind of celebration I wish I was having. Not the performative thing at the country club, but something real, something meaningful. You can still have that, Emily. It's not too late to create what you actually want, instead of what you think you should want. She wiped her eyes. I know we can't go back. I know I can't undo what I did, but I'm hoping we can move forward. I'm hoping you'll let me try to be a better sister. I thought about all the comments I'd read on my posts over the past weeks. Women sharing their own stories of family exclusion, of feeling like they weren't enough, of rebuilding their lives and finding strength in rejection. One comment had particularly stuck with me. Sometimes the people who exclude you do you a favor. They show you who they really are, and they push you toward people who will truly value you. I think we can move forward, I said slowly. But it's going to take time. You hurt me, Emily, deeply. And trust isn't something that just bounces back. I understand. I'll wait as long as it takes. And Sarah? I'd really love it if you'd help me with the nursery. If you're too busy or if it's too much to ask, I completely understand. But I'd be honored to have you design a space for your niece. I felt something loosen in my chest. Not forgiveness, not yet, but the beginning of a path toward it. Send me your inspiration photos. We can start with a consultation and see how it goes. 3 months later, I posted the reveal of Emily's nursery. We'd worked together to create a space that was soft and welcoming, filled with personal touches that actually meant something to her rather than just looking good for photos. A rocking chair that had belonged to our grandmother, a mobile I'd made by hand using origami stars we'd folded together, colors and textures that made the room feel like a warm hug. The caption I wrote was simple: designing for family. Sometimes relationships need renovation too. Here's to second chances and spaces filled with love. My mom framed that post and hung it in her hallway. I still get messages from women who saw that first viral post, They tell me about their own experiences with exclusion and rejection. They tell me how seeing someone turn pain into purpose gave them permission to do the same. They tell me about boundaries they've set, conversations they've had, lives they've rebuilt. The thing about being excluded is that it forces you to decide who you are when people aren't watching. It asks whether you'll shrink to fit their expectations or expand into who you're meant to be. It gives you a choice between bitterness and growth. I chose growth. I chose to build something beautiful from the hurt. And in doing so, I found not just professional success, but a deeper understanding of my own worth. Emily and I are rebuilding our relationship. It's not what it was before, it's something different, more honest, more careful. We're learning to be sisters in a new way, one that doesn't require either of us to be smaller than we are. My business is thriving. I've hired 2 associates to help handle the demand. We specialize in creating meaningful spaces for families in all their forms: single parents, blended families, same-sex couples, chosen families. Spaces where everyone is welcome, where no one has to hide, where love matters more than appearances. And Mia? She's learned something valuable from watching all of this unfold. She's learned that rejection doesn't define you. She's learned that your worth isn't determined by who includes you or excludes you. She's learned that the best revenge is building a life you're proud of. Sometimes I think about that phone call from my mom, about being told I wasn't appropriate for my sister's elegant baby shower. I think about how much it hurt, how small it made me feel. And then I think about everything that came after. The nursery that launched my career to a new level. The women I've connected with through shared experiences. The meaningful work I get to do every day. The stronger boundaries I've set. The more honest relationships I've cultivated. Being excluded from that shower was one of the worst things my family ever did to me. It was also, in a strange way, one of the best things that ever happened, because it forced me to stop waiting for permission to shine. It pushed me to create my own celebrations, my own definitions of success, my own community of people who value me exactly as I am. I'm not grateful for the pain, but I am grateful for what I learned from it, and I'm grateful for the person I became in spite of it or maybe because of it. Sometimes the people who leave you out of their story give you the space to write your own, and sometimes your own story turns out to be more beautiful than anything they could have invited you to be part of. That's the real luxury. Not expensive venues or perfect aesthetics, but the freedom to be fully yourself, to create meaning instead of just appearances, to choose authenticity over approval, and that's something no one can ever exclude you from.